Merry meet everybody, it's Poe Moonstone, your Friday hostess, and you are watching Witches of the Moon. This week on the channel we are discussing our favorite New Age books, and by that I assume we mean witchy books, so, because that's what I have. I've got, let's see, one, two, three, four. I've got 5 books here that are my absolute favorites, although I do have more, but these are kind of my go-to books. The first book is a book that I received. It was the first book that I received when I was about 12 years old. And this book, even though, looking, through it now, I realized that this isn't necessarily a book for beginners, so the fact that I picked this book up when I was 12 probably wasn't like the best book I could have picked up, but it did teach me a lot, and it does have a lot to offer in the way of correspondences, spell work, kind of understanding the Wiccan Rede, that sort of thing. And that book is this one right here. This is the Wicca Spell Book by Jarena Dunwich. I have a couple books by her, and it seems to me, at least the reviews that I've read on her as an author, people are, they either love her or they hate her. She's a lot like Silver Ravenwolf. You either love her or you hate her, and I happen to be one that loves her. I love Jarena Dunwich. I like her style. I like her, just the way that she puts her books together. I really enjoy them. I actually have a couple of her other books too, but this one I felt like I had to share with you guys because it was the very first book that I received in kind of exploring the craft. But like I said, this is not a beginner book because it does have it has a lot of spells. It's got mojo satchels and but like I said, it's got really good correspondences. It's got a chapter on amulets. It's got spell work. It's got Wiccanings. It's just kind of a, I don't know. I enjoyed this book when I was growing up. I really liked this book. I actually had lost it in a move, and I had to reorder it, and it was only, I think I only paid like, oh gosh, like 75 cents for it on Amazon, because it is used, but it's in excellent condition. It's in pretty much brand new condition. But it goes into divination. It goes into, I believe there's a little bit on astral projection and of course the spell work, and there's recipes in here too, which is really cool. There's in the back of the book there's a bunch of recipes for cooking and making things for like the sabbats and stuff. And that's another aspect of this book, is it goes into the sabbats and kind of gives you an overview, a brief overview of what each one means and kind of the correspondences for it. So the Wicca Spell Book by Jarena Dunwich. That is a favorite. I love this book. The next one is by an author that I really admire, somebody that I really look up to as far as, the craft is concerned. And I've got 2 books here by this author because I feel like these 2 books together is kind of like the ultimate, especially for a beginner. So, these are the 2 books. These are the older covers, and the author is Scott Cunningham. I really look up to him. I admire him a lot. I find myself reading through these books and getting goosebumps, and I'm on the verge of tears, and I find myself nodding my head constantly. This is just, and these 2 books together, the Wicca Guide for Solitary Practitioner and then the Living Wicca, it says right there, further guide for the solitary practitioner. And in this book, he references this one quite often. So I felt that it was necessary to show them to you as a pair, because I feel like having the 2 together, especially for a beginner, is like, it's just kind of the ultimate. I really enjoy these books. These are really excellent. They teach you a lot. he goes into kind of the philosophy aspect of things as far as Wicca is concerned, which I really, really enjoy and something that I find true value in. But not only that, he goes into, you know, your circle casting, kind of understanding the logistics of a circle casting. He goes into, you know, doing ritual on the go, like if you're traveling and you don't have all your supplies or your altar right there, he kind of goes into how you can kind of work around that. It's just both books. They're excellent books, and I've got pages bookmarked, and in this one, actually in both of them, he goes into symbolism, which is really cool, and kind of what the different symbols mean. And in this one, it's very much the same thing. You can see he's kind of got all the symbols there and what they represent. But he's got spells in here, he's got rituals in here, he's got... and, you know, the one thing that I noticed about these two books that I really, really found to be extremely... again, very valuable to me in my practice is the emphasis on honoring the goddess as well as the god, but more so, leaning more so towards the goddess. Because that's something, unfortunately, through a lot of the books that I've read, that they don't really go into that and why it's important. And these two books really explain that aspect of things, kind of honoring the goddess, or, you know, whatever you're, you know, kind of looking at as far as that's concerned. And he's not, he doesn't discriminate. And he says very clearly in the beginning of both books that these are guides for people who are not just Wiccan. These things can be applied to general paganism, different aspects of paganism. I mean, different traditions. It's like I said, these are just kind of all around really excellent books, both of them. I really recommend these two particularly and especially together. I believe I got those on Amazon, the pair together. I think I paid about $16, and that was with shipping. So the next book that I have here is somebody that I'm kind of new to. This is Paula Campanelli, I believe, and it's illustrated by, I think that's her husband, is Dan. And this is the Wheel of the Year, and it says Living the Magical Life, and it goes into all the aspects of the Sabbats, the different times of the year, the different months. It has recipes for things. It has just different little traditional, I guess, rituals, you'd call them, that you can do for the Sabbats. It's just an amazing book. It's just really excellent. And it's one of those books where you don't have to read through the entire book. As the Sabbats or the seasons kind of come about, you can just flip through it and find what time of the year it's on, and you're kind of caught up. So it's one of those kind of, I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, because it, you know, there is a thought process that does go into it, but in the sense that you don't have to read the entire thing first. It really is kind of easy and accessible, which is really nice. So, Wheel of the Year, and of course it gives like an overview of the Sabbats and what they mean, and why certain correspondences are directly related to those Sabbats, and what you can do to celebrate. It gives you ideas. This is an excellent book. I really, really love this book, and I think I paid $6 for it. So that's that book. Now, the last book that I have here this is my ultimate go-to, and this is by Silver Raven Wolf. This is the Book of Shadows for the New Generation, Solitary Witch. As you can see, I have all my little, there are so many bookmarks in here. I even have them on the side. But yeah, there's so much information in this book. And again, this is one of those authors where you hear good things or you hear bad things, and they are either really, really good or really, really bad. And it really all kind of depends on the person, I suppose. But for me, this book is the ultimate. It literally is a book of shadows, which is awesome. It goes into every single detail, every single thing that you could pretty much ever want to know about Wicca or solitary practicing. This book is my go-to. I'm in this book constantly. I've only had this book for, I think I bought this book in, I can't remember. I haven't had it for a year though yet, and it's very well worn through. I think I bought this last year, but this book is extremely, you can see it's like dirty, and I did not buy it like that. It was brand new when I bought it, and it's just because I work with it so much. And I go to it, it's got definitions in here, it's got correspondences in here, it's got the sabbats, what they mean, the astrological signs associated with them, the planets that are associated with them. It's got spell work, it's got divination, it's got astrology, it has a history of Wicca and paganism. It's got how to, you know, a basic guideline for setting up your altar. It's got on crystals and how to use pendulums and what candles to use and tarot cards and spreads. And like I said, this is an all-encompassing book. It goes into meditations, it goes into grounding and centering before and after your rituals. It gives you the esbats and sabbats, and of course, you know, little guidelines for how you can kind of celebrate those things. It's just, it's an amazing book, and I am one of those who is a very, very avid supporter of Raven Silver Wolf, or Silver Raven Wolf. So yeah, this is my go-tos here. These 5 books. These are definitely the ones that I love the most at the moment. But it's hard for me to pick what books I like, because I love books and I have many of them, and it would be hard to imagine life without them. So it's nice because in every single one of these books, it tells you that these are guidelines. It's not the exact, like, you have to do it this way or it's going to be wrong. And that's the great thing about these 2 books, is that they go into why that is. They explain in very, very vivid detail why it is that that's not the case. You can't say things like that because that doesn't make sense. But like I said, they all kind of outline the fact that they are guidelines. They're general. They're not specific. They're not, you have to do it this way or it's the wrong way. So it's kind of nice because you can look at the general kind of, you know, layout of it and pick and choose and kind of do what feels right for you. So that's what I like about these books as a whole group, I think, is that they're all just kind of like, well, this is kind of the basic setup, but you can, you know, change it up a little bit if you feel like you need to. So anyway, these are my books. I hope you've enjoyed my video. I hope you've enjoyed staring at my rug. I didn't have any room on my altar. You know, it was the full moon last night, so I was doing some things, and it's not in a state of catastrophe, but it is utilized space right now. So anyway, that's my video. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel. We will be talking to you next week. Have a blessed weekend, and I know this is coming late, but happy full moon, and I know this is coming early, but happy Mabon and autumn equinox. We'll talk to you guys later. Blessed be.